Pantomime pranks. Thomas steamed out of his shed before the other engines were awake. Snow lay on the ground, and he was very excited because it was the day before Christmas. The passengers were always smiling, and there were lots of special treats for everyone. Thomas didn't even complain when his uncomfortable snowplough was fitted. It wasn't long before Percy and James bustled into the yard, and there was a festive atmosphere as drivers hung holly inside the engines' cabs and tinsel in the coaches. The engines knew it would be a busy day, and they soon set about their work. "Goodbye, James! Oh, goodbye, Percy!" Thomas peeped cheerfully to his friends as he left the yard with Annie and Clarabelle. By lunchtime, the snow had melted, and Thomas waited patiently in the siding while his snowplough was removed. He watched the busy platform and was surprised to see a small black horse standing with all the people. "Well, that's unusual," Thomas thought. Imagine Thomas's surprise when he saw a passenger speak to the horse. "How are ya?" said the passenger. "Very well," replied the talking horse. "Cinders and ashes," exclaimed Thomas. Back in the yard, Thomas told the other engines about the talking horse. But he wasn't the only one who had seen something mysterious that morning. "That's nothing," said Percy. "At Wellswell Station, I saw a black pudding with blue flames coming out of it. It was on fire. So I shouted out, but no one paid any attention." "Oh dear," said Edward. Imagine my surprise," interrupted James, "when I saw Gordon's guard with his daughter Nancy." "What's surprising about that?" laughed Percy. "He was wearing a flowery dress over his uniform," gasped James. The engines were used to seeing different things on the railway, but they agreed this was the most unusual day they had ever had. They decided to talk to the Fat Controller that night. It was dark when the Fat Controller came to the yard. The engines whooshed and shuddered noisily. "Quiet!" shouted the Fat Controller. "You can tell me all about it inside the big shed," he said knowingly. The yard was filled with steam as the engines shunted noisily into the shed. When the steam cleared, they got a lovely surprise. The shed had been decorated and filled with children singing carols. At one end, a stage had been made so a Christmas pantomime could be performed by the railway staff. The engines watched happily and quietly until the end. Then the pantomime horse took a bow, and Stephen and Bridget, the Fat Controller's grandchildren, stepped out of the costume. "Oh, it's the talking horse!" cried Thomas. At the end, a funny lady called Widow Twankey took a bow, and her wig fell off her head. Then the lady took off her costume, and underneath was a man they recognised. "It's Gordon's guard in disguise!" shouted James. Finally, the shed door opened, and the refreshments lady carried in a flaming pudding. "Oh, help!" shrieked Percy. "It's a Christmas pudding!" laughed the Fat Controller. While everyone ate the pudding, the other engines agreed that pantomimes are a lot of fun.